What's up, Kingdom of Rock? This is Matt Gibson, and we are back on the horse again. And when I say we, of course, I'm talking about my wonderful and charming co-host, Mr. Michael Melenda. Mike, how are you doing today?
It's awesome. We're back. We're back. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yay.
back from the dead, right? Well,
Well,
obviously, we have a guest here with us, as we usually do, and I'd like to introduce Se-Hwang Kim, who is a amazing guitar player, a musical ambassador, K-pop luminary, like whatever you want to like. He's definitely a K-pop advocate for sure, and he's played with like everybody that you've ever heard of, pretty much, as far as guitar players and musicians and things. And so, Se-Hwang, what? It's so glad to finally get you on the show. How's it going?
Yes. I would add Matt's friend Se-Hwang, living in LA, and hello. It's so very nice to meet all of our viewers. It's a great honor to be here. Every guitar player's dream is to be able to meet and have a talk and an interview with Mr. Melenda, obviously. And looking
yeah.
up to his legacy, this is a great, great honor to be on your show. And thank you again so very much for your kind
Yeah.
invitation. So,
Well, so
you
nice
men-
of you to say, although I feel bad because I looked at everything you've done and I'm going, why didn't Guitar Player ever interview you, from 2000 onward? It's like, I think we screwed up. And I apologize for that in person.
oh, thank you so very much, sir. You're so very kind.
Well,
But we
Well,
know who he's the real fan of, because obviously he has my name on his shirt. He didn't say Melenda. It doesn't say Melenda on his shirt. It says Gibson. So
yeah.
obviously I'm the real reason he's here.
Well, those Melendez shirts are so rare and very, very valuable. But I'll make sure that say one gets one.
I want to
oh,
get
Yeah,
I want to get one of those too. I
yeah.
haven't gotten a Melenda shirt yet.
yeah, we should work
Very,
on it.
very, very, very valuable, Matt. I'll see if I can score one for you.
Well, well, that's great. I'm
Great.
glad to hear it. I'll hook you up with my address. So,
Thank you.
Thank
well,
you. Yes.
okay. So, Se-Hwang,
Hmm.
why don't you tell Kingdom of Rock just a little bit about your um, kind of how you got into the music industry
Right.
and kind of where you are today, and a little bit about that journey.
Okay, that's a very good question. Thank you. In the 70s, my father was a diplomat who was stationed in the Korean embassy in Washington, D.C. And our family, were working with the US government. So I think, Matt, you yourself had been with the Air Force for a very long time.
Hmm.
And along with myself as a diplomat kid, I was surrounded by other countries, other nations' diplomat kids as well, along with cool people in Washington D.C. from my childhood. And I think I've been very fortunate to have grown up in Virginia, Washington D.C. area during those times. And obviously, I was a big fan of Guitar Magazine. Have seen Mr. Melenda's name like millions, billions of times, and I'm very, very thankful that I had been able to absorb a lot of the U.S. '80s rock traditions. And ultimately, I went back to Korea in high school, and later on, after entering college and all, we made a band with my American influence behind me. I was known to be the guitar player, the first LA style or the American style guitar player in South Korea at the time in the
Ah,
90s. And everybody, there were 33 record labels in South Korea. So I was objected by all 33 record labels in South Korea. They told me guitar music is never going to succeed in South Korea. Get over it. You got to do Korean pop. So, but after 1 year, we proved to everybody that we were amongst the first generation of people to build the Korean record industry into the millions of album sales. So in the 90s, in our era with Sateji and the Boys, our band was called The Next. We were rivals in outside, but actually We were drinking friends every night.
Mhm.
And actually, our vocalist and Seo himself were relatives. So and it was a good journey. I personally have 18 album releases, six of them, uh, the majority being rock and heavy metal out of all places in South Korea. I have three instrumental tracks which had made it to the music charts, along with other K-pop music, which obviously is very, very different from the type of music that I do, which is guitar-based instrumental style.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why people always wonder how he does it, why, and how he's able to continue.
I mean,
And
are you still considered kind of a rebel in South Korea then because you do, you know, you play the guitar obviously, so ferociously? Is that like we don't want that, or are you accepted more now?
yes, that's a very good question, sir. In Asia, uniformity instead of standing out as a specific unique star is actually the most ideal
Mhm.
type of becoming a star in the industry these days, and
Ah,
becoming a part
okay.
of the huge machine, the industry. But I'm probably the one of the only guitar players that is actually a TV like a icon or celebrity who's been on movies, dramas, game music. I work for the government as well for K-pop export since
Mhm.
2016. And although I am a guitar player by heart, and that is my primary like focus, I do still work on other matters as well because, frankly, a huge part of it is the language translation.
Mhm.
Because people rely on somebody who they can trust and who has an understanding about the industry and what they do. So I think that all like contributed to the continuation of my career. And just a few days ago, we had South Korea's version of We Are the World from a broadcast called NBC Television with World is One.
Mhm.
Uh, and our industry has become, to its growth, to be able to aid other nations where they have children in need. And I think we're following the legacy of what I learned or what we all learned from the 80s of looking at such gentlemen as you, Mr. Melinda,
Mhm.
Michael Jackson,
Mhm.
like all our great heroes that we used to listen to growing up. So we're very, very honored to be able to do this.
Well, what do you think? It's weird when cultures kind of explode because
Mhm.
to be gross about it, I mean, South Korea is really hot right now. Films, television shows, music, fashion. I mean, it's
Or
just
wait,
it's just exploding.
it's
So,
he's probably the reason that it is exploding, and
uh,
besides the talent of the artist, obviously. But Se-Hwang,
okay,
you got your fingers in all of that pretty much, right?
but
A
but
little
it
bit
it,
here and there.
it it but it does have to be accepted by whatever market you're marketing it to. So, what do you feel are the attributes that have kind of uh, exploded upon the world for the Korean art form, whether it's visual or musical? How do you think that actually happened?
I think South Korea has a weapon that nobody else has. I think it's called honesty.
What's
There's
what's what's that?
Yeah, it's revealing your weaknesses.
Hmm.
If you look at Squid Games, actually, I think that is a good resemblance
Hmm.
of the economical society from this country in which had economically developed the fastest ever on our globe during the past 30 years.
Hmm.
So when you have a good side, a good aspect to it, there's always the dark side. And I think Squid Games is a good resemblance of what it actually is in an exaggerated movie form.
Ah,
And that script was actually also rejected by every film production company in South Korea for 10 years until they found our partner, Netflix, actually USA company, who
mhm.
were willing to make the investment of a little over 20 million, which is considered like very low in US standards of production cost. Whereas the profitability is almost equal, but when you look at the profitability numbers of Squid Games right now, it's actually exceeding the previous contents. So in consideration as a business, like 1/10 of production cost with more profit makes perfect sense for anybody. And I think that had been something that also had been derived, similar to guitar manufacturing in the 70s, 80s, 90s. I think Mr. Melenda, you yourself would be very well aware of such company as Samick Music
Oh,
or
sure.
Quartz from
Sure.
South Korea.
Mhm.
They used to manufacture like OEM with Western brands for a long time. And these OEM factories, they were able to monetize and profit by making physical products. And I think that was the study case that we had. And uniquely, South Korea is also a country which does not have any raw material, like almost none. Like
Mm.
coal ran out after just 10 years of mining. That's it. Like no steel,
Yeah.
not enough to
Yeah.
even make a pickup bridge for a guitar.
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah. So all it had was human power, manpower.
Mhm.
So the philosophy is derived. A lot of it was actually taken from Japan, I would say, honestly. A lot of the education system from the U.S., Japan, Korea, so on, and also the music culture. It also followed. But now I think the consistency and the hard work, like perseverance, and like I myself look up to Mr. Melendo a lot, and I would say like we would try to imitate or follow his philosophy of his writings for many, many decades. And I'm sure there are a
Yeah.
lot of people like me back home in Korea and Asia too.
Mhm.
It's just I feel very lucky to be able to be fluent in the language as a guitar player, absorb it in, and
Mhm.
maybe like teach the next generation or so too. So back to the answer to the question is I think it's honesty. South Korea is honest about its weaknesses,
Mhm.
and that's what's been touching the audience.
Ah. Well, how when you teach the next generation of guitar players, uh, as you've said, guitar, you're still a little bit of an outsider because it's more K-pop than guitar stuff. What do you notice any disconnects between uh, young South Korean guitar players that you need to get them over? Like, oh, you need to learn the blues, or you need to play with a little more feeling, or please don't, study the guitar like you'd study the violin. I mean, what are some of the challenges you have when you're trying to teach other young people to play like you?
Uh, okay, I have a version for South Korea on that, and I have a version for China on that. South Korea, I would say the huge music opening would be, I think, the 80s, 88 Olympics. And I think the copyright law was like solidified right before the Olympics in 1988. So before 1988, yes, there was Van Halen and Bon Jovi. Also in South Korea, they were very, very popular, and they had great concerts in Korea as well. It just I think like it was cool to like act like and to follow what Americans liked. I think it was cool to know like what Mr. Melenda wrote in the guitar magazine. And like, hey, this was written down. So this defines the coolness of it. This defines. So Eddie Van Halen's on the cover of Guitar Magazine a lot. So he is God. He is cool. Like
Ah.
that sort of mentality. So I would say the percentage of creation was like non-existent. Basically, copy,
Oh.
like following the roots of the West, America, Eddie Van Halen, Jimi Hendrix, myself personally, blues, BB King, like those very typical like household brand names of artists would symbolize each sector.
Mhm.
And don't get me wrong, my Chinese friends, I have many, many great friends in China. I partner with Parsons Music of China. They are the Gibson distributor in mainland China.
Mhm.
And I've toured there 3 times in 24 cities. And like one of the best times ever personally for me. Um, and it's kind of like the craze is similar to, I would say, the Woodstock era or the 70s in America, which was similar in South Korea in the 90s and 2000s. So China had its guitar boom, I would say, from 2008,
Hmm.
and people were just starting to listen to guitar music or rock music from 2000, a little before, yeah, mid 2000. So one of
Okay.
the first bands that they ever heard was actually Metallica,
I was
Masters of
just
the
thinking
Puppets.
that they're actually getting ready to come to Allegiant Stadium in Vegas here soon. I can't wait.
Oh,
But
great.
Yeah.
yeah,
So when I first went to China to tour, this was 2014. Of course, Beijing and Shanghai, everybody knows the Beatles.
Mhm.
But if you go to other cities, most of the cities outside of Beijing and Shanghai, but okay, let's exclude Hong Kong too.
Mhm.
Like most people, like they knew Metallica, but they were not aware of the Beatles. It's like we talk about the Beatles or Let It
This
Be. It's
is
like,
this is sacrilege.
this is the best show ever because Mike's favorite band is the Beatles and mine's probably Metallica. But it's funny.
yeah.
That's interesting.
So like when we talk about Metallica, it's like, wow, yeah, I know who they are. But when we talk about the Beatles, it's like, huh? Who? Like, it's
All
like
right, you're
it was,
you're bumming me out here.
yeah,
Well,
exactly.
how do we fix that problem? Like, yeah,
But I would
Yeah.
say they know now, and
yeah.
education, music education, it's crazy. Like they love it. They love taking history lessons on music, and
Mhm.
like there's a group chat on WeChat just for that as well. Like people just love to talk about Western culture from the 60s, 70s, 80s, guitar culture, and actually one of the biggest guitar museums in the world is also located in Beijing with my friend Liu. So yes, now they know, but it
How
took some time.
how do you say guitar in Chinese and South Korean? How do you say the guitar?
In Korean pronunciation, the guitar is kita,
Mhm.
Kita.
kita. Well, yeah, very similar, I would say.
Mhm.
And in China, jita. Yeah,
Kita and cheetah.
yeah, cheetah.
That's kind of easy to remember because of the K and the
Right.
CH for the countries.
Yes,
But
right.
that would make
Yeah.
sense because the guitar is obviously the most important instrument in the world. No, I'm just
Yeah,
kidding.
you know, I wanted to focus on you for a second, Se-Hwang, too, because
Yes, sir.
you know I think you've done a remarkable thing because it's always difficult sometimes to subsume another culture, especially when you're talking about guitar. Like there's a lot of people here during the reggae craze that you couldn't really get into the headset of the Rastafarians, so the Americans would copy a lot. Chicka, chicka. But that's not necessarily what reggae is about. Now, for you and your culture, as you said, you know, being different is not necessarily celebrated. But you were able to listen to American metal acts and forge your own style despite possibly what's part of your culture. You know what I mean?
Yes,
Like
sir.
you did not Xerox Eddie Van Halen. You developed your own style. So how did you do that? What was your taking off point between study and becoming your own person as far as a player?
I would say luck and timing was a huge part of it when I look back at it in the
Mhm.
90s. Like there was still a lot of the previous style of Korean pop music at the time. No, like almost no rock music, I would
Mhm.
say. It was there, but it just died.
Mhm.
And it wasn't like number one on the charts, so to speak.
Mhm.
There was no Living on the Prairie yet, or the Scorpions like Still Loving You yet, so to
Mhm.
speak. So we had that, and we were very fortunate to become that generation of people to accomplish this. And I think it was a combination of mixing the American culture, and I think the key word is localization.
Mhm.
Like, and growing up in Washington D.C. myself, my father used to always tell me like identity, like who you are is
Mhm.
very important, and it's important to cherish this. And when I was growing up in DC, like I had my name James, so people would call me James Kim.
Mhm.
And but I come to LA, I don't use it anymore, and the reason
Mhm.
is there's so many people who goes by James, and you know when they
Mhm.
say James Kim, there's so many people. But I think identity was something that I was always focused on from a childhood standpoint. And
Uh,
I would try to fit in with my friends. And one of the reasons that I played guitar so like diligently or practiced diligently was just to fit in, to be honest,
mhm.
and play little league football, do the patrol in front of the school, best patrol of the year for 2 years, and it sort of carried on. And after I went back to Korea, I didn't speak Korean during the first year, and uh, I was being accustomed to people not being able to communicate with me, so I had to adapt.
Uh,
And I think adaptation of the U.S. culture, the music culture, into the Korean um, demand, so to speak. So I was supplying what was in demand in the next chapter.
mhm.
So I think I was lucky to be able to forecast just one stage up ahead. So people thought we were revolutionary,
Mhm,
like
mhm.
we were the first to do a lot of things. And it had continued on to the point where it became global, so to speak. Yeah, I was one of the first, well, not one of the first, the first soloist who performed with I Musici di Roma, the chamber orchestra from Italy,
Mhm,
very globally renowned to represent Vivaldi's Four Seasons. So I was
mhm,
their
mhm.
soloist for their 60th anniversary tour. And I think it was just an exercise of continuation, which had happened for over 20, 25 years, now 30 years.
Mhm.
So, yeah.
Did,
So
Was classical music kind of a bridge to uh, South Korean culture? Because you could put the guitar on top of something that kids studied in school, right?
oh, good point.
Mhm.
Classical music in our mother's generation, my mother is a classical guitar player, by the way.
Mhm.
Um,
Ah,
interesting.
and so in my mother's generation, it was actually considered a high class culture.
mhm.
Like people with wealth or education, which was very expensive, and the instrument in itself, like let's say a Yamaha nylon guitar that you could buy today for what $5,000, so to speak. Let's for instance,
Mhm.
uh, it was not like affordable for everybody back then. Very very expensive, and um, you'll love this, Mr. Melinda. Actually, the number one tier of rock fans, your fans, Guitar Player Magazine fans, are
Mhm.
actually the graduates of Seoul National University, Yonsei University, Korea University, equivalent to Harvard, Yale, Stanford in America.
Huh.
So these
Wow.
top tier, like smart, educated people, they were the ones who are able to read your writing. They are the ones who are able to read Guitar Player magazine, and actually, they are the first generation of the bands from Korea. So it's actually a high class culture.
Well, that's a mind blower. I mean, you just write stuff and you think you're. I mean, you're kind of blowing my mind right now because
Really?
you just write stuff and you feel like you're doing a service to a community. You never thought that you're actually influencing another generation of players. That's crazy.
Absolutely. And I could like let you know very proudly. I know many like magazine writers who were respected just for reading your articles and like transcribing them a little bit with their own opinions too,
Mhm.
which is also
What?
localization.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like because they have to write their articles,
Oh
but
yeah.
they,
Yeah.
they have to study what's going
Mhm.
on in America.
Mhm.
And obviously, Mr. Melinda, you yourself, you are who you are with your representation. So, yes.
Yeah. I don't even know how to take this stuff. Matt, you should ask the next question.
All right. Well, okay. So let me ask
Yes.
Se-Hwang, let me ask you this. Okay, so you were talking about how South Korean culture has this honesty factor.
Mhm.
What could other artists, like American artists, artists from other countries, what could they take away from that when you're talking about a music career? What's the value of that honesty that you're talking about? How do you translate that into actions you would take in your music career as an individual?
Oh, okay. There's also two sides to this. So please don't be confused. When I say
Mhm.
honesty, I'm referring to, let's say, the script of a film. Like,
Ah.
You don't necessarily act like everybody's Superman or Batman. If you have a problem in your society, like Koreans, they love to reveal the problems. It's actually, it touches the people more because it's honest. And I think it also includes like the dramas, which are very, very popular also globally. Like housewives, they love it. Yeah,
Right.
that's my story
Right.
because it's honest. That's what I'm talking about when I mean honesty.
Got you. And people can relate to it.
Correct.
As okay, got you.
Right. That's the power. So that's what I see as the supply and demand figure. But the complete opposite that I would recommend, maybe America could integrate, but I know it's not ready to yet, or who knows, maybe it was already here, but I didn't know. So going back to the story of South Korea, China, now Vietnam and Indonesia, like they have all the factories in the world. So we are the region where all of the manufacturing happened from, let's say, the 70s,
Yeah.
even for electric guitar.
Mhm.
And we're used to making physical products through a conveyor belt of things.
Right.
So what happened, due to the Samsung, LG, Hyundai, Kia culture,
Mm-hmm.
that was transversed all the way down to entertainment as well. And
Oh, yeah.
when you make a new artist, you already like know what you're gonna make, and you backtrace. Okay, how are we gonna make a Van Halen?
Oh, that's what they. So you guys kind of made a K-pop factory, basically.
Correct. Yes, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
Yes.
your world domination of your product, which is K-pop, K-pop art, that type of thing, and then
Right.
and film, obviously, Parasite. Won great
Four
awards,
Oscars.
4
Yeah.
Oscars, and
First non-American film ever.
do you? Well, okay. As far as the musical ambassador part goes, can you talk any about what you do with that here?
Oh yes, I'm one of the members and organizers, primarily artist, Gibson artist,
Yeah.
for MUCON, MUCON .kr. So MUCON.kr is the website for this. So it is basically South Korea's version of South by Southwest.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, so we wanted to become the Asia hub for artists for the global market. And obviously, we wanted to export K-pop music to the global market as well. And we succeeded, basically. And I was awarded by the government for my services and the result that we had established in 2018. And I'm still working for the Ministry of Culture, Sports, and Tourism for this. So yes, regarding the music aspect of it, I work for the government in charge of K-pop exports with Won Shin, and shout out to Se-Hwang Kim. I love you. You guys are awesome. You're doing great.
But you do it with film as well, right?
Yes. So this organization called KOCA, KOCCA, which is agency working for the Ministry of Culture of South Korea government. Actually, yes. So they do multiple things like TV format export. For instance, The Masked Singer on Fox Television in America.
Right.
That's actually a TV format from a NBC television station in South Korea, which I was on and my band was on. And it actually became successful because of our music too.
Oh, that's great.
And really great to see the day when Korean TV formats are actually playing right after the Super Bowl last year. So that was a pleasant surprise. And yeah, so for KOCA, I was in charge of VIP invitations for Parasite for Hollywood screening. And we did our events at the Egyptian Theater in Hollywood, Sunset. So I think Mr. Melenda, he's aware.
Oh yeah, no, I'm a film nut. So
Oh.
yeah.
Oh, then we should send the invitation to you, Mr. Melenda, as well.
Yes, all invitations should come to me.
Yeah, that's right.
Wait a minute. Hang on a second. He's got my shirt on. Wait. No, I'm just kidding. And shout out to Gibson Guitars, obviously.
Yeah, right. We love you.
Who bought Mesa. I am technically sort of a somewhat Gibson artist. I'm a Mesa artist. So I'm kind of slid in there, under the Gibson brand.
All right. Congratulations. Yes. Yeah.
It's been a
great
little while.
stuff.
It's back in the Google Plus days. It's an old story. I
Aha.
was famous on the internet for a minute as a metal guitar player.
You told me. I
Yeah,
remember.
I think we talked about it. Yeah, that's right.
Yes. That was quite amazing.
But Mike has instructed me to no longer tell that story. I've told it too many times on the show.
Okay. Well, all right. If I may take this opportunity, can I brag about
time.
You've bragged on Mike
Brag
enough.
about
I guess
Matt,
it's
sure.
my turn.
Okay. All right. Okay. I wanted to say, can I brag about you in Korean for maybe you
Yeah,
can utilize
sure.
this clip for later on?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's get some Korean going on.
Okay.
Sure.
여러분 안녕하세요. 반갑습니다. 저 기타리스트 김세형은 지금 Kingdom of Rock에 지금 출연하고 있는데요. 모두의 꿈인 Mr. Mike Melenda 님과 Matt Gibson 님과 함께 하고 있습니다. Kingdom of Rock 사랑해 주세요. 감사합니다. Well, that was your little ad. You're welcome to utilize it whenever you want.
Yeah,
that was awesome.
Thank you.
So now if we get a whole bunch of South Koreans on here and we can't read what they're saying, are you going to translate in the comments for us?
Oh, okay. Let's see what's going on. Oh boy.
No, it's not there yet.
All right. Okay. All right.
Maybe later.
Okay. Yeah, we'll do.
Yeah,
thank you for that, Se-Hwang. That's a first, Matt. We have a Korean language. You know, this is.
Yeah, we got a shout out. I don't know what he said.
Yeah.
What did you say?
Yeah.
Well, it's okay. You can tell us later.
Okay, right.
You're like, these guys are terrible guitar players, and no, I'm just kidding. Well, I did want to mention one thing during my research. I noticed this earlier. You were doing some stuff with Chick Corea, the great Chick Corea.
Yeah.
Recently, and why don't you tell us a little bit about that experience? Because that's bragging rights right there.
Okay. Yes, you're right about that. Obviously, while reading Guitar Player magazine from like high school days, we all listen to Chick Corea, and we all love Chick Corea. It is everybody's dream to be able to perform with him, which I think maybe for somebody from Asia, probably I'm the first or the only person to perform with the late sir. And he was kind. Like I approached him, I was able to due to the introduction of my friend Seth Shapiro. He had been working for the Television Academy for a very long time, and he's a founder of I think like TV stations in America. And he took me to make the introduction of Mr. Chick Corea, and we said hello, and I explained to him that I'm the first Rock Walk of Fame inducted artist to Hollywood from South Korea in 2014, and I'm a huge fan of yours, and it's a great honor to meet you. And I was blushing, and it was a great time for me personally. I'm sure, like, we all have our guitar heroes. If we met them in person, I'm sure you've had that experiences.
Sure.
Yeah. So it was like that for me, and I told him it's my dream to perform with you, sir. And I think my friends in Korea would be very proud of me. And like, yeah, my name is Korea, so why not? That's what he said.
That's
awesome.
And
I never thought about that. Yeah, that's cool.
And actually, the original spelling of the country, Korea, was actually originally Corea.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, before the 20th century, in 19th century until 19th century, it was Corea, just like Mr. Korea's last name. So he was always for and with support of Korea, I would say, and it was a great, lovely coincidence. And right before COVID, we were preparing for these tunes, and suddenly COVID hit. And of course, our preparations included, like, we're gonna make some music, and we're gonna tour, and we're gonna perform together. But it didn't happen because everybody was locked down. And so these performances were supposed to happen in March, April, May, June. exactly when COVID hit in 2020.
Oh,
So we were forced to go online, and just back in January, like he had his showcases at the Grammy Museum at LA Live, and we used to go say hi, bring flowers, and show him support. And it was so sad that we couldn't meet.
Mm.
So, hey, let's do it all remote, and that's how it happened. And by now, our original plan was to be on tour and play on the road together after all this is over. But yes, in respect to the late sir, yes, y'all know he passed away.
Yeah.
yeah.
Rest in peace.
That
Yes,
was
sir.
that was quite a shock.
Yeah.
Yes, for all of us. Yes.
But during Latter Day Return to Forever, it was kind of a mess because you had this. I went to a sound check, and Lenny White's, and Al Di Meola's, and Stanley Clark, and nothing was connected. There were just all this stuff going on all the time, and Chick was just kind of at the piano talking to some friends, and just not all the madness. He just let it wash over him, and then he walked
Wow.
over and just sat down and played a couple of notes, and everybody shut up. It was absolutely amazing.
Wow.
Like the respect for him that even those musicians had when they weren't getting along. It was like, oh, Chick's playing, we better shut up now. It was amazing.
Wow. Yes. Oh, wow. The level of respect that he's obviously a huge symbolization of it. And I did notice amongst other musicians at his showcases who came by, there were some pop stars too. And, music fans, they all love and respect him. So that was a great, great moment to realize. Yeah. Respect is shared everywhere. So,
Absolutely. Well, so it's recently, I think you just did a project with Orianthi. Is that what I saw?
yes, sir.
How
Yep.
did that go? Tell us about that a little bit.
Well, actually, I just talked to her. What did you do with her?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Okay, that's a fun surprise.
Yeah.
I'm really glad. Okay, Orianthi, of course, Michael Jackson's last guitar player. Everybody loves Beat It. Everybody wants to play Beat It, but who gets to play with Michael Jackson? How cool
Yeah.
is that?
Yeah.
Right.
And at such a young age, like you come to a new country, America, from Australia at your young, beautiful age, and you're on stage with the biggest pop star of the century, or ever, probably, maybe.
Right.
So I have huge, huge respects for her, just for that. Like,
Absolutely.
she has her guitar from PRS. She
Yeah.
has her guitar from Gibson, and like I'm from the industry where looks is very, very
Oh yeah.
important, or if it's not everything. I'm sorry to
Yeah.
say, but it's a very visual industry, and like she's the best of both worlds. She has talent, the beauty, and I met her during while we were recording and we were working, obviously, but she's such a lovely lady and
Yeah.
so
Did you work on a song with her, or a couple of songs, or what was the actual project?
Yes, so I was just referring to South Korea's version of We Are the World, so to
Oh,
speak.
okay. Yes.
So that was the charity project that I was in charge of for America with NBC television station in South Korea, working with World Vision. And the title is called World is One. So our objective, number one objective, which usually fails, was okay, let's continue the legacy of Michael Jackson. Let's continue his thoughts of cherishing the world and protecting the children. Let's help the children. And we were trying to reach out to like people who were affiliated with the project from Michael Jackson in the past. And usually, again, this fails most of the time. But
Right.
luck came by. We were able to work with Miss Saida Garrett, who is the songwriter for Man in the Mirror, and she kindly agreed to participate on the project. And like all of us the organizer was like, "Oh my God, seriously? No way! That's such a happy news!" And it's such a great project because our objective is to help children in Africa post COVID, like who don't have medical aid, like food, like school aid. So, and I met Orianthi at the Grammys in 2019 in the hallway, and
Oh, cool.
I was just passing by and I noticed it was her, and like I went up to her like a guitar geek, and I had said, "Oh, Orianthi, I'm such a huge fan. Can I have your autograph and a selfie?" And she was so nice. She was like, "Of course." She gave me an autograph. Very cool. And then we took a selfie, but I didn't post. And like, she looked stunning that night. Like, absolutely stunning. Of course, she was at the Grammys with her celebrity friends. So, and yes, Orianthi's Saida Garrett was on. Dorian Holly, Michael Jackson's vocal. Oh yes, you know. Daryl Finney, also a chorus member, and
well, it looks like you guys got Sting to be a part of this too.
yes, that was very very nice of him.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, very cool. So, yeah, doing a production from the South Korea world and being able to work with Sting and Michael Jackson's friends, like for a good cause. Yes, I think that was pretty awesome. It turned out great.
Yeah,
we're very happy.
Is it released yet? When's it going to be available to check out?
Okay, so the YouTube link had been released on October 30th.
Oh, okay.
So the YouTube link is there. So if you look up MBC World is One 2021, you'll find the link. I'm sorry, it's gonna be like over 2 hours of a lot of like Korean language music, but please understand and I hope you like it.
No, dude, I'm gonna check it out.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
thank you.
Absolutely.
I'm just gonna fast forward to your part.
Okay, thank you. Okay, my honor. Getting Mr. Melendez's attention. Wow.
But go ahead, Matt. Sorry.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Well, I was just saying, Orianthi's just killing it lately. Like even that SJ200 acoustic she just put out. I mean, what a wacky thing to go to Gibson and say, I think we should put an ES335 neck onto an SJ200, acoustic guitar. So she she had to put an electric neck on an acoustic, and I mean, people's minds are getting blown at how easy that guitar is to play.
That's amazing.
Is that the red one?
Yes,
the red one.
Yeah. I've seen that one. She was on the show during COVID. So she was, well, I guess it still is COVID, right? But at least we can play music places sometimes. So that's good.
That makes a lot of sense. A great idea. And of course, we have a lot of people who are, like less powerful, so to speak, to be honest, like, a lot, there are many people who are, all types of people. So it's great. That's a great idea.
Yeah. No, for sure. Well, I mean, it's just that, you think whether you respect her as a guitar player or not, I mean, I don't think that many people would have gotten the idea, what, she's inventing guitars? Because, I mean, she really kind of did invent that guitar.
Wow. And coming from you, Mr. Melenda, that is like, wow. And I respect Orianthi's activities on that. It actually makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. But like I said, she, I mean, what was it like? You had to play virtually. Did you trade tracks back and forth, or did you guys get together to play in Los Angeles?
Okay. I'm a guitar geek for her. Mm-hmm. I'm a huge fan of hers. So, and I'm a guy. So like we have this rule, whatever the lady says, just say yes. So, okay, then why don't we meet at Sunset? Sunset Studios?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Okay, how about Prison's Room?
Yeah.
Okay, yes. Okay, what if I invite my Michael Jackson's band members? I'm like, oh my God, yes. And we had Mr. Michael Bearden. Oh, and our bass bassist is Sean Hurley, who is the bassist for John Mayer, and
Right,
Elias
right.
Mullen, who is the drummer for Oriante's tour. So we got, she wanted to bring that lineup. Of course, I'm
Oh,
going to say yes.
so I know that she cut a lot of her album that's out now live. So did you actually cut these tracks live in the studio with that band?
Over 90% of it, yes.
That must have been awesome, standing there with all
Yeah.
those people and cutting them live. That must have been crazy.
Being with them was actually like an amazing experience for me. Like, um, I felt like I was taken back, like when people were actually in a studio room with their piano and acoustic guitar and like working on the music and taking takes and like rearranging these good takes so that you have a final music product, so to speak. That's exactly what we did. It was so fun.
Yeah, I mean, coming from my generation, that's what I love the most is getting in a studio all together with a bunch of people and just having crazy ideas go back and forth. I mean, well, Matt gives me shit about the Beatles, the Who and all that, but the records that were made in the 60s that way, very quickly, having to have your ideas come out like that and have them go down, and a day later you have a hit record. I mean, I love that urgency and that creative bubble.
Yes,
And then,
absolutely.
yeah, and then that being in Prince's room at Sunset Sound, that doesn't suck either.
With Prince's engineer, Mr. Bill Mims.
Nice.
How cool is
Crazy.
that?
Yeah.
Yeah. The actual person who worked on his hit records.
Yeah.
Wow.
Did he pull out Prince vocal mic for you?
Oh, I think he mentioned like Prince's like materials many times actually.
Oh yeah. Because his vocal mic is still there and everything else.
Oh, that's why.
You might have sung through his microphone.
Oh, nice.
Oh my God! Wow, what a great honor.
Yeah.
Yes. So I did. I was able to take like pictures from where he would make his music. So that was like a Disneyland moment for me.
Well, speaking of gear, what is there anything that you're particularly mesmerized by lately, as far as gear, technology, anything in the music related that you're like, wow, this is really cool?
Okay, so let's be honest. We're professionals. I represent Gibson, Roland Boss, Orange amps, the Dario strings,
Nice. Me too.
Stramberg guitars.
Yeah.
Awesome. So while I have this great opportunity, and not everybody gets to hang around with the legendary Mr. Michael Melenda, so
Right.
it's my great honor to say I'm a very proud first artist from South Korea to the global market who represent Gibson, Boss, Orange amps, the Dario strings, and Stramberg guitars.
Nice.
Okay.
And Strandberg is really blowing up now too with a lot of these, the kind of more progressive players. I mean, it's amazing how many people are picking up those guitars. Are those big in Korea as well with players, or mostly just the U.S. still?
I think it's somewhere in the avenue of Lamborghini or Ferrari where like most kids want to try it, but it's kind of revolutionary. The price point is a little bit high. It's going to take some time to arrive, but I did hear the #1 region of sales amongst is Japan. Japan is a huge market for Strandberg guitars. And yes, it's taken off in America. I know Guthrie Govan himself, he loves to play the Strandberg too. Like when he goes to his club right in front of his house in London.
I haven't played one yet, so I'm gonna have to do that now.
I would insist. And they have their headquarters in Riverside, which isn't that far. So if you ever drive by.
Oh yeah, I go to Orange County all the time.
Oh yeah, Matt,
So,
you should
there
check
you
that.
go.
You should check that stuff out, dude.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Maybe I'll do a Mesa and a Strandberg kind of journey.
Yes, it would sound awesome. I would totally support that.
Well, maybe I'll swing through LA and I'll pick you up, and then we'll go to Riverside, go out to lunch, and
Oh, yeah.
you can show me Strandberg.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
Hey, have
Yes.
you, Se-Hwang, did you know Yvette Young, who plays Strandberg guitars? That young, she's kind of a math
I
rock
remember
prog
her.
guitar player. Have you ever heard her?
Many
Yvette
times.
Young. Yeah.
We took selfie in front of NAMM 2018.
Man, yeah, so yeah, you know everybody. So.
Well, actually, I wonder if you remember, like, I was trying to meet you too at NAMM. And like you were so popular, like everybody wants to meet you, and like, you know, like I was way back there in line, so you know, it took quite a while.
Oh,
Today's a special-
did we actually say hi then, or did we just did you? Oh.
No, not at the time. I do
Okay.
apologize. But
Well,
again,
me too, obviously. Sorry about that.
well, you know, you are who you are. Everybody wants to meet you. So.
Wow.
I haven't been to NAMM with Mike before. That should be interesting. You can't walk 5 minutes away without having somebody try to talk to you.
No, it's not good. It's not good.
Oh, really? It's not?
Well, I mean, it's nice, but you know, there's been many times where I just wanted to quietly check out a guitar or an amp, you know, on my own. And I mean, I'm, you know, or you know, a million people giving me CDs, or you know, I mean, and I appreciate all of it because I want to support everybody who plays music. But there are times where I just want to, you know, because I started buying, I got that orange, you know, Tiny Terror. I'm really into these small orange amps, and you know, I couldn't get into the booth because I kept getting stopped, and all I wanted to do was check out their new pedals and stuff. So little things like that sometimes are, you know, because you always say, well, it's no big deal, I'll just come back later, but you know, then you never have the time to come back later, and there it goes. So
and me, I'm just thrilled that somebody mistakenly thought I was Sammy Hagar at NAMM show. So
yeah, that's a good one.
Twice it's happened to me at NAMM.
Twice.
Yes.
That's good.
Yeah, it's weird.
Did you ever meet Sammy Hagar?
I haven't met Sammy. I know Mike
No?
probably has
Okay.
met him 8 billion times.
Okay. Yeah. Maybe you should do a selfie with him.
That would be cool.
Yeah.
We'll get the hookup on that.
Yeah. No, he's a friendly guy. That's possible.
Oh.
We'll get Sammy on here next. That'd be cool.
Oh my God.
Sammy, if you're out there, come on the show. Yeah.
Yes,
we love
please.
you.
Yes.
Well,
yeah.
Okay, so
Matt wants to ride in one of your Ferraris, so bring it.
That's right. I want to drive it, and I'm gonna go faster than 55, guaranteed. Yeah. But we're getting kind of close to the top of the hour here, and so much fun having this chat with Se-Hwang, and you know, as far as like what are you working on next? What's your next horizon in the music industry, or as a musical ambassador, whatever it is you're doing?
Okay, we're living through post-COVID times. I think we're referring to these times as with COVID.
Mm-hmm.
And the economy, like everywhere, they're just trying to go back to where like normal lies. But
Right.
It's already been almost 2 years since the lockdown first started. And I do notice like during the lockdowns, like we had success of Squid Games, film Parasite, a lot of Korean TV content had been distributed globally. A lot of online business like took off, very successful, including online concerts and shows, which our industry is very, I would say, friendly. It's easy to work with, so to speak. And yes, we're approached by many companies who want to do what we do, basically. Create music, create TV shows, create like what they call it content. But basically, it's like a combination of content, and like we're moving towards the next generation of internet for metaverse and 3D, visual, audio, music, where like you're in like a rehearsal room and you're panned out exactly like that room now with your devices.
And you got to wear the goggles.
or the glasses.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
like you're gonna have see-through like
Yeah.
lenses, and like those tech aspects are actually a part of the music industry from where I come from. So you have to know these things, and like there's no choice. It's either you know it or you're out.
So I
Right.
mean, I think we're a little bit behind the eight ball somewhat in the United States, but are you're saying that you're already starting to film and produce these new tech, music tech shows, basically?
Well, you recently met Orianthi and spoke to her.
Sure.
That show had 3D recording devices, visual and audio.
Oh, okay. Oh,
Like
the one that you were in with her, the
correct.
visit. Okay, got
Oh,
it.
cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So everything is like we're preparing everything for the metaverse. Like everything is going like online 3D. It's just like the Matrix, so to speak.
Okay.
The
Yeah.
Yeah,
copycat.
because until I talked, she mentioned that she was involved in some super tech thing, but she didn't say what it was because I don't think it was out yet. But now you just connected the dots to me because I'm sure she was talking about your show.
Yes,
Yeah.
correct.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So we gotta be able to provide like awesome new things, new trends. Come up with it actually for the phone, the
Well,
laptop.
I mean, what Matt and I have talked about a lot here, and we've had some obviously some tech people and some tech music people on the show. Um, in Korea, is the audience ready to accept this? Because here the problem is not everybody has Google Glass, not everybody has got, the 3D or virtual reality glasses and all that. It's a slow climb, but in South Korea, is it like ready to go? Like everybody's got these things already?
Okay, it's a chicken and egg. In America, you're referring to consumerism, whereas the
Sure.
everyday regular people, they all have certain items, such as the guitar in their house.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas in South Korea, the culture is completely different. It's corporate led. It's corporate foundation. Samsung, LG, Hyundai, they lead the trend. Everybody else, they follow. Or like, I'm sorry, it's the truth. Like
Uh-huh.
Squid Games, you have to follow the rules. You have to follow the trend. Or like if you're behind, then you're not competitive.
Yeah, so just so I understand it, it's so there's actually the technology in the typical South Korean household that is into music and entertainment, that they're ready to accept these shows because they're ready to go. Whereas in the United States, it's more about, well, I can't afford Google Glass yet, or it's more because, like you said, it's more consumer driven here.
Yeah. Different VR headsets and
Yeah,
things like that. Yeah.
yeah.
And I'm sorry, like costs, because the manufacturing capacity is way higher in America, the average cost is lower. But I did notice, like the consumer tax in California, for instance, like it's around what 10%, which is
Yeah.
higher, yeah, than South Korea. So like yes, different price points, and
Mhm.
they do a lot of hot deals because they over manufacture, and
Mhm.
sometimes it's a good thing for the majority of the consumers.
Mhm.
And yes, so and kids love, like for instance, the TikTok when it first came out,
Mhm.
and like they want to try new things. And one of the reasons why people are so hot about new things is because not that long ago, like there was, the economical success didn't exist as is now.
Mhm. Mhm. True, true. Well, I mean, it's what do you think the next big thing is going to be then, since you're kind of on the pulse of it?
My personal opinion,
Of course.
I could be wrong, but I think we're moving into the copycat real life version of the Matrix, and that's
Uh,
what we're promoting.
mhm.
Mhm.
But I think what we're actually doing is uh, selling faster CPUs. Actually,
Mhm.
my personal
Mhm.
opinion, we're just
Mhm.
selling the same laptops, same phones, and
Mhm.
they're leading the industry. I'm sorry, over guitars now. Um, but they're like packaging it so-called in the terminology of metaverse, the
Yeah.
metaverse,
Mhm. Mhm.
the like Unreal online world. But I think what they're actually trying to do is sell faster CPUs.
Yeah.
But
Take away the marketing, and it's like, yeah,
yeah,
we're just trying to sell faster CPUs. That's it.
That's
Yeah.
my personal opinion.
yeah.
Right. Right. Right.
I think Intel will be the winner.
Hmm.
personal.
All right. Well, you're recorded in history now, so we'll see.
All right, we'll
see how that pans out.
After 10 years.
Yeah.
Well,
isn't Intel always the winner?
Oh, but they were a bit behind at times.
That's true. That's true.
Right. Microsoft, Facebook. Yeah, online social media platforms.
Well, let's do a quick around the horn here. Give everybody last remarks. Tell Se-Hwang, tell them where people can find out more about you. You can see there's a little scroll at the bottom that has everybody's websites and emails and things like that. So I think I got your website right on there. But why don't you tell everybody where they can find out more about you and like your website and stuff, and any last comments?
Yes. I would like to say and emphasize what a great honor to be on the great program, Kingdom of Rock. And I'd like to say thank you to my friend Matt Gibson for inviting me. And
thank you.
It is a huge, huge honor to share the same location online with Mr. Michael Melenda. Like, you are the Eddie Van Halen of guitar, like, publication for us. And it's truly, truly appreciated, sir. And I'm sure my friends in Asia, they're all gonna like envy me after today. Like, this is such a memorable day for me. And to learn more about my music and about myself, yes, you've already written down my website, which is not actually that active, honestly. So if you're curious, I would recommend going to YouTube, looking my name up, and you'll find probably a few of the most viewed instrumentals or my performances. And I've been I've been very lucky to be able to collaborate the most with many Korean artists and global artists throughout my career. So I would really appreciate it if you have the time. Please check out our music. And again, thank you very much for your kind invitation.
Of course.
Mike, what do you got, Mike?
Take us out. It's an honor for me to be here with you, Se-Hwang. You've done so much for the music industry, and I think that your hybridization of guitar and K-pop is crazy. And I think that if any, people are not really down with K-pop, it's like, well, you should check it out. And here's a reason right here, that's putting some, badass guitar into a lot of stuff. It's like, there's no reason to be scared of it. And we need to globalize and kind of open our minds a little bit. I mean, I love hybrids. I love, rap beats and rock songs and, all that kind of stuff. And you've been obviously a proponent of, getting a super blend together of, Korean and American elements. And I just salute you for that. It's great to be able to meet you. And yeah, we should have lunch sometime. Don't let him buy. Where is he? Don't let him buy you lunch. We should. I mean, we can invite Matt to have lunch with us, but
Fine.
Yeah.
That's fine. You guys can talk without me.
Yeah.
Mike's gonna just talk about how mean I am.
Yeah. I just if we do have lunch, just don't wear the Matt Gibson T-shirt. That's all I'm asking.
Yeah, right, exactly. And just for the record, I'm not trying to infringe on Gibson's trademark by saying that my last name is that. But think about that for just a second, Gibson. Anyway, but I actually talked to Gibson about endorsement once, but I was already ESP artist. But I love Gibson guitars, obviously. So not just because it's my last name. But okay. Closing remarks for Matt here. Dude, it was such a pleasure. I wanted to say, when I was moving from Virginia to Los Angeles back in 2019, I posted about it on the internet, and Se-Hwang, we had been Facebook friends for a little while, but we hadn't really interacted. And I saw what he was doing. I was very intrigued by it. And he just kind of left a comment on, "Oh, hey, great. Welcome to Los Angeles." And I was like, well, let's go have some lunch when I get there. And he took me to this awesome place called the BCD Tofu House. And It was so good. And I was like, that's now where I go. Like, when I if I'm in that area, that's where I go eat all the time. I've eaten there like 3 times since we did that. But it was he kind of welcomed me to LA, and I really appreciated that. It meant a lot to me. So thank you for your friendship, and hopefully we'll be jamming sometime on a stage nearby. But anytime you come to Vegas, obviously I'm here, and who knows? Hey, and I have a feeling we're going to have some K-pop artists on here as well. Now that you've been on the show, and like we were a little light on the K-pop. We started kind of on the metal side when I started the show, and then now we've had DJs on this year, Mike. We've had just about every style of music, but except for K-pop. So you're kind of the first K-pop kind of. You're kind of a hybrid though. You're a guitar rocker and a K-pop guy. So we need to get some real K-poppers on here that are all the way K-poppers, right?
We're ready.
Yeah, let's do it.
Oh, thank you so much
Well,
for
thanks,
your
Se-Hwang.
kindness and openness. Yes, truly appreciate it. It's a great honor. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much. And that's all we have for today, folks. If you want to check us out, you can go to kingdomofrock.com. There's some new links on there that link you to Telegram groups and Discord groups. So we're starting to build up our community that way. So go in there. You'll be notified of like when the new show comes out, meetups and things like that. We have all kinds of different things going on. So check us out, kingdomofrock.com. And if you got a question, look down here, the email, matt@kingdomofrock.com, mike@kingdomofrock.com. Send us an email. And if you want to be on the show, do the same. So Kingdom of Rock out. And thanks a lot. Se-Hwang.
Yeah, thank you.